Aaron, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, doing good. Doing really good. Um, Busy, which is good. Love busy. Busy's good. Um, no, it's good to have you on. You run a business that's really similar to me. We're both in home services. I specialise in gardening. You guys do a bit of gardening. Actually, why don't you tell me what you do?
Yeah, so the bulk of our business is strata, um, maintenance and gardening.
Yep.
So we've got full-time non-gardening crew out for that, and another crew that does a couple of schools and some outdoor ed centres,
Yep.
and then a maintenance crew as well. We've probably been going about actually, Thursday's 3 years.
Yep.
So it's starting to get there, starting to work out what we're doing.
Yeah, love it.
Um,
How did you get into that?
We started off just doing a bit of everything, kind of like you did,
Mm.
and we saw some runs come up for sale and we bought them.
Yep.
And then we've really focused on managing those relationships and growing out workflow from the stratas.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And now we're coming back to focus on residential in the sort of Ringwood to Lilydale area,
Mhm.
back to Blackburn, and then down to Croydon.
Yep.
And then we've got a few things on the peninsula because one of our large commercial clients has a site here.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. No, cool. So from the conversations we've had, my read on it is your primary acquisition of customer method is by buying runs that guys have built up and then bringing them into your business. Is that correct?
Yes, so far.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so far. And you guys are working pretty hard. Your brother is working pretty hard to get your marketing channels up and running,
Yeah.
which is cool. How have you found I don't know. I thought I'd try and add some value to a specific customer type, someone who is looking to start like a lawn mowing business, for example, because it's a pretty low barrier to entry business. Um, would you recommend that method, buying a run? What are the
Yeah.
pros and cons?
I mean, the pros are that you have revenue from day one. The cons
Hmm.
are that the work can be underquoted or the client expectations can be ridiculous. We've bought some that the runs have fallen apart almost as soon as we've bought them. Luckily, they
Yeah.
were smaller runs and we didn't spend much money on them.
Hmm.
And then the bigger runs, we've actually, because of who we bought them from, the seller did a really good handover and has continued to engage with us.
Yep.
Um, I think if you're just starting out, it really depends, right? So, like, I started and I needed money, so I bought runs because I was trading, you know, um, potential future earnings for current earnings.
Yep.
And you kind of did something, a similar sort of thing, which is just go out and bang your head against a brick wall, um, and knock on doors and do all the crazy stuff you do.
Nah, door knocking's new. I built it on
Oh,
High
really?
Pages. Yeah, no, I started with High Pages.
Oh,
I used High Pages for 2 years.
oh well, High Pages is exactly the same as buying runs. You're buying pre-priced
Yeah.
work essentially,
Mm.
um, and you don't have a lot of control, and you can't drive the costs down
Yeah.
over time.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I mean, short answer, yeah, you can buy runs. I probably wouldn't recommend it if you don't need a full-time income.
Yeah.
Um, if you're a young guy and you can work at Coles, then definitely don't.
Mm.
You should be out
Mm.
leaflet dropping. Like leaflets
Yeah.
murder, but you got to put out a
Have you
statistically
found
significant.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I did 2,000 leaflets. Caveat, I reckon my leaflets sucked. And I got zero. Have you had success from leaflets?
We have at times, yep. But I know a
Yeah,
few
okay.
guys who've built ripping businesses off of putting out. You've got to expect a 1% response, less than 1% actually response rate off leaflets, and
Mm.
and you've got to do it again and again and again. Like it once doesn't matter. You've got to be doing it
Yep.
like you got to hit an area every 2 to 3 weeks for a
Yep.
couple of months.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's what I fucked up, because I did it once. No, not true. I did one area twice. I did 2,000 leaflets.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I just didn't have the long tail.
So like you
Yeah,
should have gotten 2 jobs out of that.
got zero, got nothing.
Yeah, and was your pitch clear?
No, it was poor. So it wasn't an offer. This is before I was really focusing on making offers to people. It was actually a good learning experience. It kicked off a train of thought for me. It was a photo of it was a nice photo. It was a beautiful looking flyer, but didn't convert. Nice photo of what we did. It had my name and number in tiny, and it had the logo on it, and it said $1 million homes deserve $1 million gardens.
Yeah. So no call to action.
No, absolutely, it was weak. This is a weak flyer. And no concept either.
That's
Like
from
it's actually
that's
just
from
bullshit.
listening to say that again.
I said it was just a weak. Like it was no offer. It was just words. You know what I mean? It was weak.
I was listening to the podcast you did with Chris
Yep.
earlier today, and
Mm.
I do kind of agree with you guys. Like sales and marketing, we haven't done a lot of sales and marketing
Mm.
because we buy these runs and then we build relationships and we expand. We
Mm.
don't. We're not particularly good at breaking through the door.
Yep.
Um, and so I think, yeah, back to young guys, right? So I think, you know, a push mower, a whippersnapper, and a blower is all you need to get started. And you can use Sprint if you really want, and you can do that for less than $2,000. And then I
Mm.
think you just focus. If you're not getting paid to mow lawns, you're out putting leaflets out
Yeah. Yeah.
or knocking on doors. If you've got the confidence to knock on doors, knock on doors.
Yeah.
Don't do gardening. Don't offer any other stuff. Just mow. Because
Yeah.
once you
Right.
start doing other stuff, you need hedges. You need a hedger, a pole hedger. Then you need rakes and a wheelbarrow and a trailer, and you just start needing more and more money. I'm not saying
Mm.
don't ever offer it, but if you're starting out, the way to murder is just mow. I would probably suggest just a 3-week cycle year round. A lot of people do the fortnightly 8 months of the year, uh, 2 weekly, sorry, fortnightly 8 months, monthly for 4 months, so cold 4 months.
Mm.
I just do 3 weeks, right? Like it's a little bit harder in spring on you, but it
Mm.
balances your cash flow out over the year. Because that's the thing
Yeah.
that kills us is winter, we make more money, but it's because we're
Mm.
doing other things. So it costs us more money, it takes us more time, we're not as efficient.
Mm.
So even though we are making more money,
Mm.
it's more expensive money. I
Yeah.
think that's another thing I probably didn't understand. I was trying to find a word to describe it when we were chatting the other day.
Mm.
Is the cost of producing revenue. Not every dollar is the same. And if every year you had to go out and spend $2,500 to replace your setup, but you're making $80,000 or $90,000, if you say like the average lawn is worth $90, say you can do 5 or 6 on your own, let's do 5. There's 3.8 productive days in a week. Then you've got a 3-week fortnight. You're doing $5,000 a month for one person
Yeah. That's not bad if you're
with
starting
two and a
out.
half, with, how do I stuff that up? 5130 times 12. I did it by weeks. So if you're starting out, you're doing $60,000 a year. You've
Mm.
got $2,500 in equipment.
Mm.
You've probably got $1,000 a year in consumables, like
Mm.
absolute max.
Yeah.
And um, if anything breaks, you can afford to replace it.
Mm.
Like we now have, I think we've got 5 pole hedges across the business,
Yeah.
like the kits. And a kit's,
Mm.
I don't know, $1,000+, so $1,200.
Yeah.
So we're out of pocket $6,000. And we don't
Mm.
have enough. We really need 2 more
Yeah.
kits to make us productive. So I need to go and spend another $2,500
Mm.
just to expand it, make us more efficient at the
Mm.
stuff we're already doing.
Mm.
And so that's again the prompt that we had for this when we were setting this up was buying fancy toys. Like I've just spent well, more than 55,000, but $55,000 on a remote controlled forestry mulcher,
Yeah.
which is a super specialized piece of kit. It's for um, steep access or tight access. For removing your blackberry and your grass and your small tree saplings. But like, should I have bought it as like being
Mm.
super like lean and focused on profit? No, hell no. Is it a toy inside business that can make money and pay for itself? Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. It's like you end up buying toys and doing things because they're interesting, but
Mm.
it's cutting into your efficiency.
Mm.
How am I using like lean manufacturing principles? How do you become as lean and efficient as possible,
Mm.
punching the same sort of work at the highest possible frequency? So if
Mm.
you're mowing lawns, you want to have like 3 jobs in the same street, and then you want 2 jobs in the next street, and then you want two
Mm-hmm.
jobs in the street, so that your total drive time once you arrive at your first site, when you leave your last, is a couple of minutes for the whole day.
Mm.
You want to be rolling down the street, not driving 20 minutes between jobs. We had a run that we're making $1,200 on in a day, but it was an 11-hour day for 2 people. And then
Hang on. So a 22 man-hour day is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but more than 30% of the day was driving.
Yeah, that's the problem. And
So we
I
split. It was actually when we picked up a bit more stuff, we split those runs
mm, clever.
and and halved the drive time, adding more work. So we
The
got our
thing I
drive
wrote
time
about
down
the
to like,
yeah.
I think we got it down to an hour a day for 2 runs rather than 4 hours for one run. And we were doing $1,200 a day. So we've doubled revenue and we've cut our costs and we cut our
Mm,
operating hours. So we've cut our wage bill as well.
mm. The thing that I wrote about the advice you just gave of just keeping it simple is, as you've just said, you keep your costs low, you learn your craft well, and you get a really good sense of what's going on. But if you're just starting out in business, like you can attest to this, the learning curve is so steep. If you're offering 6 products, your head is going to be all over the place. If you're offering weeding, hedge trimming, pressure washing, mowing, and whatever else, that's a lot to focus on, a lot to learn at once. Also,
I
while
mean,
learning the
this is so
things you
this.
just described, like tactically the travel time, 30%, absolutely. So if you could have annihilated that 30% travel time, you could have earned an extra $400
Yeah, I
in
mean,
that day.
essentially did. So
Yeah,
we picked up another full day of work, but it was bunched in that same area,
yeah,
so it overlaid. So
mm,
we split down the middle essentially between the two suburbs. And we're
yeah,
driving from literally from, well, actually it wasn't 2 suburbs, it was like 4 suburbs. But there were a few where we had like 10, 15-minute drives in between them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, no, I love that. I love that tactical advice. The thing I've loved most, so the reason I started Smart Yards is because I had started a real estate agency and I realized I knew nothing about business. And the trouble was, the specific type of real estate we were doing, land advisory. You do like a deal a month or a deal every 2 months. So I wasn't exposed to enough movement to learn the business. Do you agree that this is a great way to learn business for someone who's young and they just don't know?
Um, yes and no. Um, I think you've got to also be parent with offline learning. Sorry, offline as
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
not
absolutely,
in a
absolutely.
business, like going to uni or sitting on YouTube and not watching like Gary Vaynerchuk motivational stuff, but like actual in the weeds, like how do you read a P&L? What's a loan structure? What are loan terms? What's your CAC? What's your lifetime revenue from the customer? What's your lifetime profit? Because they're different. So you can have like really high lifetime values on customers, but their profit is super low. Some of our best customers are one and dones. So your move out cleanups, your deceased estate cleanups, that sort of stuff pays really well,
Mm,
but you're not going to have 5 of those a week or 6 of those a week.
yeah,
And so it's about balancing. And like, and actually, this is something you and I talked about extensively, right? Where we have a lot of ongoing, long-term, very sticky work,
Mm.
but that makes it more price competitive.
Yep.
Um, and the next focus for us is on work that's less sticky but more
Mm.
profitable.
Mm.
And that
Mm.
would be what pays for us to put another crew on the road
What does
because we
sticky mean?
realize it's like in a bunch of different ways, like the client, you retain the client. You know, it's like the service you provide is really good value, or the service you provide is contracted, or the service you provide requires them going out to tender, um, or it's convenient. You know, we had a run on the peninsula that we've since sold, but it was a great run. I loved it. Some of the views on it, but the client, we
Is
never,
that where we met?
yeah, I never met half those clients. Actually, where we met, I've never met that client. I've never even spoken to her on the phone, just email.
Yeah, right.
Great client. We service her 5 times a year, and we just send her a bill.
Mm.
So super
Mm.
sticky. So for her to replace us, she has to A, know there's a problem, B, contact us and not be happy with the resolution, C,
Mm.
go find someone else. And then she's got to do it while she's at her holiday home.
Mm.
So it's super
Yeah, right.
sticky that it's really difficult to replace us.
Yeah, okay.
It's not as simple as like, oh, I'll just put up it, add in the Facebook group for my
Mm.
suburb and replace you in 10 minutes with the first
Mm.
name that comes up. Um, but also, if we send her a price rise for 30%, that probably would be the trigger to replace us.
Yeah.
So she's price sensitive.
Yep. Mm. Um, I'm trying to think of
And
some more. You
I
go.
think like in that vein of, you know, when you start out like, and I definitely did this right, like the prompt that we set for this was buying toys, and I've bought so many toys. Like I've got a really powerful pressure washer that like we use like 5 days a year. I've got a
Mm.
gutter cleaning machine, which we didn't pay much money for, so I'm kind of having an issue with it. But like, if we put more money into it than we have, I'd have an issue with it
Yeah.
because it'd be thousands of dollars that sits most of the year.
Well, you
Um,
highlighted to me the car thing. We had a conversation about that a couple of weeks ago. So I was adamant on this idea that we buy Rangers. And the most expensive ute on the market, I'm sitting in one right now. It's a $76,000 car. Because I had sold myself this idea that it was a great idea. And then you and I had a conversation about the fact that it's kind of just a toy. And then I realized you can get these utes for 30, 40 grand. And then I started actually working out the math on that and seeing the potential upside that I was leaving on the table by having leather seats.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've gone the other way. Like we have bought new vehicles
Yeah.
because it defers risk for us. But going forward, we're definitely going to look at second-hand vehicles
Yeah.
because they get beat up doing what we do. You know, if you're throwing branches and stuff in the back of it, you're going to hit the side of it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how careful you are. So not being precious about having, you know, the best looking kit, but having kit that is cost effective and
Mm.
maximizes our output. But I think
Yeah.
with finance, our ute is like, I think it's like, I want to say 55%
Mm.
of what you pay for a Ranger.
Mm.
So I think
Yeah.
we're into ours for like 43, including
Yep.
finance over 5 years.
Yep.
And a Ranger base, you said, was it 75?
Yeah, well, this is a wild track. But the reason I got the wild track is because the XLT, by the time you put a roller cover on it and a tow pack and all that sort of stuff, it's like 65. And it's like, okay, well,
And
how much
65,
does
so
that
it's
change? How much does that
without,
change the repayments by, and then the value that you have at the back end? It just made more sense to me to buy the better one. Also, it's better for the brand. That's why I made that call.
so there's two things there that I'm going to address. One is price, and the second one is your brand doesn't matter. So
I agree
price,
now. I didn't at the time.
we're, so even at 65, right, we're $20,000 cheaper before you put finance on that vehicle. So you're probably looking at 30. So we're almost at a second vehicle, yeah, we're what's that? We're like more than 60% of the way to a second vehicle for the price of one of yours.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
in a business where the margins get really tight,
Mm,
really fast, if a job goes wrong, you want to
uh-huh.
be as price competitive as possible when it comes to
Mm,
marketing costs.
mm,
Onto brand. I think a lot of people care about brand perception. And in the same vein that Chris was talking about Nike, no one gave a shit when Nike started. No one cared when Google was called the Google.
mm.
Like the brand was too new for anyone to care. And I think
I get what you're
you
saying, and I think you're right.
people spend a lot of time and money on brand. Our first logo, so we're 3 years old. We just replaced our logo in January. Our first logo was like I don't even remember how I just kind of made it. It might have been on Canva, but it was like a
Mm,
2 second job. That was a
mm,
placeholder for 2.5 years. And the only reason we updated it was because we finally had uniforms coming for business
mm,
wide. And
mm,
so we had polo shirts made and we're like, well, we want to stick with this for a while. That's when we
mm,
put effort into it, is when but I mean, that's the other thing. We got 2.5 years into business before we had uniform.
mm,
Like everyone's like, oh, you gotta have uniforms, you gotta have uniforms. We didn't have them, and no one noticed. No one cares.
mm.
As long as the
I,
guys,
I tend to agree.
as long as the guys don't look homeless and like they're smoking meth in the car park,
Homeless.
you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And some amount of the branding is like one of our large commercial clients has, well, two of them actually have kids on site.
Yeah.
So it started to matter a little bit around other things about being identifiable from a distance rather than,
Mm,
I get a phone call from one of our clients being like, hey, do you have anyone on site? There's someone up the back. Is that you guys? And be like, no, it's not us. And they're like, oh, we should go talk to them.
mm. I agree and
Um,
I disagree. So I think the brand is important, but I don't think it's as important as what people make it out to be. People will spend 6 weeks developing their logo and website, and that's a waste of time. I think if you write on the side of your truck, get fucked, that's negative brand. Like it has to be something. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
I'm not saying, okay, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree. So I'm not
yeah,
being hyperbolic and being like brand doesn't matter. I just don't matters to the degree that most people think that it
I agree.
does.
Yeah.
Um, and like
I know someone who started their business and they booked themselves a retreat in the Yarra Valley to come up with their logo. That's how I knew they were going to go out of business.
yeah.
They had nothing. They literally had nothing. They had no customers. It was their first business. And they're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend 3 days ideating in the Yarra Valley over colours and a logo. All a brand is the reputation and story that people think of when they see your logo. So start with the reputation and the story, and then pick the colours in 3 years.
So I knew that Nike wasn't called Nike when it first opened, and I've just Googled it. It was called Blue Ribbon Sports, and they were a distributor for Tiger, the
Mm,
Japanese shoemaker, right?
mm.
So Nike didn't even exist. Building a
There you go.
business with someone else's product.
Mm,
And I think, like, when it comes to brands, the things that do matter, people don't do. So,
mm,
like, do you
mm.
communicate well with your customers? Do you follow them up?
Agreed.
You and I were talking recently, and you have a huge database. And I'm like, how often are you hitting that up? And you're like, I'm not.
Nothing.
Well,
Zero.
what's the point? You've built this brand, you've done this work, you've done work with people, they've given you money, and they haven't gone on the internet to tell you that you're a flog. There's probably a chance that you could sell to them again.
Absolutely.
And even if they have told you you're a flog, there's still a chance that they'll use you again.
Mm, mm, absolutely.
And I think that's where there's a lot of room for small businesses. Like, I know a guy who mows 17 schools a fortnight with one himself and another full-time employee, and then some contract labour
Mm,
in the busy parts of the season. And they do
mm,
other stuff that don't just do 17 schools.
mm,
That's huge, man. Like,
mm,
the efficiency that they have in their business, though. Like, the equipment they run, the rigs that they have, the vehicles, as in, they've got a truck and a ute trailer, and the way that they're set up is to maximise the speed that they do those
Mm,
jobs at.
mm,
But they don't do residential. They don't do small strata commercial. They don't do, they do large sites. There's a few
mm,
that vary from that, but that's only because they're clients of other clients.
mm,
So they're client sites for
mm,
clients that they already have stuff with. They focus on
mm,
like large multi-acre sites. I think a small mowing site for them is like 3 or 4 acres of grass.
mm,
That's huge.
mm,
Like I know guys
mm.
that don't even mow that much grass in a week.
We don't mow grass anymore. We do a little
Yeah.
bit. Jack's doing 2 today. I'm like, whoa, you got some mows today? And he's like, yep. We were both surprised.
So most of what you do is like hedging
Nah,
and
most of what
gardening.
we do is prepping for sales. So we'll go in and do full cleanups. And by and large, people are like, oh, I can do the grass. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. We've positioned ourselves now as exterior stylists. I've gone away from being a gardening business and towards an exterior stylist. We have 2 packages available. We sell set down roots, which is you're in your forever home. You're going to stay there forever. You neglected the garden for a year or two. It looks like shit. We're going to come in, give you a reset, or a sale ready package. Those are the 2 packages we sell under the Art Blitz banner now, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So we come in and we consult, and then we execute.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, and I think too, there's like when you're starting out, if you're especially like in home services, there's a tendency for people to want to do bigger jobs
Mm,
and bigger or more expensive or whatever,
mm,
choose whichever metric you want. Um, the middle of the market is where the money is because you can be efficient and the quality of job that you have to deliver is average. You don't
mm,
have to go the extra mile. You just have to do the job that is prescribed to that
mm,
standard consistently.
mm.
Um, and I think a
Macca's.
lot of yeah,
You get
or
in there,
Joe,
you know what you're getting.
I would say GYG. Like it's a good product. It's pretty consistent,
Mm,
and you make a little bit more money. You're not bottom of the market. I'd say price-wise, Macca's is the bottom of the market. I agree with the principle that you're getting at, yeah, but
mm,
it's a consistent product at a price. Expectations are not crazy, But if you go to the number one restaurant in a country, your expectation is that it's crazy, that
mm,
it's mind-bending.
mm,
Um, and there's a few landscape um, maintenance companies,
mm,
that are doing that really high level of work, and they're
mm-hmm,
actually quite large, but they're
mm.
also run by people who have 15 or 20 years of experience in horticulture and
Yeah,
their plant identification, their understanding of irrigation and chemical is really high, like
yeah,
insanely high.
yeah.
You're not going to get that if you're 21 and running around with a whippersnipper from Bunnings.
100%.
And trying to get it is a mistake. You should be trying to build density get your job as close as you can, cut your
Mm,
drive time down.
mm.
I'd even say, like, if you can, mulch mow, like, don't take away waste.
Yeah,
Um,
I learned that early on as well. Or
yeah,
throw it in their
and
bin. You don't want to tow a
yeah,
trailer. It's inefficient.
yeah, and if you can get that, then and if you look at it like operationally, where brands start services. This actually from wherever I work in services. And we're in the process of building those into verticals with managers, and those managers will
Mm,
manage the vertical. Um, and our marketing and sales process be is being designed to break a vertical
mm,
so that we switch it on, we go a vertical, hit certain targets, and then
mm,
sit and wait, and we can absorb the capital costs in expanding. Because here's the other thing, right? Like the bigger you get, the bigger the capital expenditures are to make the next jump.
mm,
Um, and that growing, we grew really fast. And you went through the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is, from my understanding of our discussion, why you resized the business, is that um, you need time between each spurt of growth
Mm.
to kind of absorb all of those one-off expenses. Because, it's all great to go out and buy a new vehicle, and you can finance that, the equipment to fill it, and you can finance that, but then you're still going to need to go out and spend money on stuff that you've forgotten, or little
100%.
modifications, and
Yeah.
that can be like, we just set up a truck, and I just listed out all the little things that we want to do to it. There's another 10 grand that we want to put into that setup.
Mm. Mm.
That'll account for a huge amount of efficiency, like minutes a day.
Mm.
Inefficiency will
Mm.
recover that money within 12 months.
Mm.
So if
Mm.
we run that truck around 40, 40,000 is actually not a huge amount to save.
Mm. Mm.
And then math on it quickly.
Mm.
We're talking about saving a day, which is like 30 minutes.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's
wild.
45 minutes a day, which is two
Mm.
people minutes.
Mm.
Um,
That adds up. Like over a week, over a month, over a year, like it all adds up. Don't underestimate that.
More revenue, and
Mm.
you're on the potential to, you know, pick up other work or fit more work in. Um, so you've got to balance efficiency, because there's a point where the cost of attaining efficiency is too high. So you
Mm.
want to balance efficiency with cost effectiveness.
Mm.
The thing that I think similar to you with your fancy trucks is that I always wanted to buy the best solution to a problem, and now
Mm-hmm.
I buy something like the solution that's cheap, test it. If it works, then I'll put more money into it and get
Me too.
better outcome. Because we spent a whole bunch of money on whip snipper racks and blower mounts. The blower mounts I'd buy again. The whip snipper racks I wouldn't. I didn't rate
Yep.
them.
Yep.
We lost a whipper snipper because of an employee's error.
Yep.
And it's a repeatable error because it was made through laziness.
Mm. Yeah, right.
But if I was on my own, I would totally run the whipper snipper racks because I'd be the one locking them every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but yeah, again, like back onto like cost effectiveness, like I buy cheap toolboxes. I'm not going to go spend money on a really fancy toolbox when we're going to put mud and grass and stuff in them and degrade them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
100%.
or whack them with a bobcat like someone did a couple of weeks ago.
That was you.
It was me. Some of the most expensive, you know what sucks is like some of my guys have made dumb mistakes and have been expensive. The most expensive mistake when I'm tired and stressed.
Yeah, me too. Been there. 100%. Um,
Um, and I think as a boss too, actually, like having too many things dragged in too many directions. If we had less stuff on, I could be more focused. I'd make less mistakes. We would make more money.
I agree.
Like I
100%.
spent 10 minutes this morning changing the bar and chain on the pole saw because I needed it on Friday for a job, and I broke it
Yep.
on. Well, I didn't break it, but got caught the other day and broke.
Yep.
But it's stuff like that where we've got a bunch of equipment that's broken and just needs 20 or 30 minutes and $30 worth of parts to fix.
Yep.
I've got to do that, or I've got to pay a small engine mechanic to do it, and it's going to cost $100 an
200 bucks.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes from being a $30 job that takes me 10 minutes to I just load the ute up with a bunch of junk and drop it off. And sometimes I do that. You've just got to weigh it
Mm.
up, how busy you are and how badly you need the equipment back. But if you're efficient and you're just really hyper focused on mulch mow 3 weekly,
Mm.
90-ish, between, sort of, I'd say 90 on the bottom end and $120 is the average Mo's. You
Mm.
can punch those out, and you can actually do them from a car. Like, you could, like, a ute is probably the easiest. Like, single cab ute, got a big tray, you put the whip slipper in flat, like all that sort of jazz. You can pick
Yeah.
them up pretty cheaply, but you could do it
You could use a
from a
Fiesta.
car. Yeah.
I use my wife's
And
Fiesta.
if you're not taking waste away, then there's
Mm.
more efficiency built in. And I think, like, again, if you're going to be a business owner, have hobbies, be efficient at work.
100%.
And I think that's
That's
exactly
good.
what it is. They chase, like, you can get super efficient, and you could
Mm.
go out with two people and do $3,500 a week on that 3-week cycle. So you're doing, I don't know, say 12,000 a month. And then you've got 2 days to have another business that's for fun. You buy a toy.
100%.
And then if it sits, who cares? And I think
Mm.
too often, and I'm so guilty of this, like, this is my hindsight kind of recommendation, is like, be really focused, don't keep adding toy tools and stress. Really focus in on and drill out that key product and getting it to the point that you can murder. Like, you sell it, you can look at a job without walking around it and know roughly what it's worth and what the client's willing to pay and whether the client's worth dealing with. Because also, the more you deal with a single product, the more you look at customers and go, oh, this person's a pain in the ass. I've dealt with this sort of customer 150 times.
Mm.
The 10 that look like this one have always been a headache. I'm going to add 30% to this price so that I'm not price competitive, and if I do say
Mm.
yes, at least I'm
Mm.
getting paid to put up with their bullshit.
Mm.
And I think,
Mm.
but if you do 10 gutter cleans a year, and you do 10 pressure washing jobs a year, and you do 10 hedges a year, and you do 10 garden cleaning, you don't have enough experience, enough at-bats, as Gary Beck would say,
Yeah.
to innately understand the efficiency in that job.
Mm.
And the more efficient you become, the less you can charge
Mm.
if you want to pick up volume. So you
Mm.
can take $10 off of a job so that you get more yeses. But because you're only
Mm.
doing that one particular type of work, you're so efficient, you're in and out so much faster than everyone else. You're going to make more money per hour than the guy that has the ute full of equipment and the trailer with the toolboxes full of junk, and at every job it takes him 10 minutes to get out of the ute because he's got to sort through the front seat to find the thing that he needs. And I am totally throwing myself under the bus here. I look homeless. Like, if you look at my ute, I look like I have lost the plot. There's pilot jumpers, there's different tools for different jobs, there's parts for jobs. It's a massive joke.
Mm.
But it's hard to go back when you
Mm.
pass a certain size because the ship
Mm.
gets too big to just turn around on a dime.
Mm.
So, do as I say, not as I do,
Mm.
and build that efficiency in from day one.
I love it. I totally agree as well. Um, yeah, this has been awesome. Have you got any closing comments, or just stay narrow?
Yeah, stay narrow. Like the boring advice here is the good advice. Don't
I
spend too
agree.
much time on things that,
Usually is.
like, a lot of time and money gets spent on building a cool website, but
Mm.
a little
Landing page.
landing page would do.
Yep.
Like, the biggest company in Melbourne for strata cleaning and gardening, their website is so bad
Mm.
that they'd probably have like 20 people a year land on it,
Mm.
because they'd predominantly be dealing with the same strata managers that they deal with
They've got
over and
6
over and over.
customers.
They have more than that, but like, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're huge. They've got more than 50 or 60 trucks on the road.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah, so
Good on 'em.
it's a shit website, so can you, because no one gives a shit.
Mm. Mm. Oh no. You there? No, I reckon I've completely lost you now. That's a shame. Um, if you can still hear me, one word, two syllables, Bradford Road. Well, it's just two words, I suppose. Um, no reception. That's what happened. I was on my way to an appointment, so now I've done the appointment. So yeah, but I am now heading back down the Esplanade towards the reception, which means I can get your final closing remark. Is there anything you
Yeah,
want to leave the dudes with?
I think because I haven't said it enough is like clearly define your product, only deliver that product and deliver a lot of it,
Yep.
whether it's push mowing or it's house cleaning or whatever. Just be focus. The more focused you are, the faster you will make more money.
Yeah.
People get to, I definitely did this
Mm.
but I've got to make money, so I'm going to do this and this and this and this to fill in the time, rather than getting really good at bringing in that work. And this loops back on what you and Chris said about marketing and sales in the last one.
Mm.
Like, just get really good at selling. And if you get
Mm.
really good at selling one thing, you'll have the base skill and you can adapt it over. So it's actually the most important thing you can do is
Mm.
be boring. No fancy toys, no new markets, no ideas. Out a core product like mulch mowing on a 3-week cycle and just beat the horse till it dies.
Mm.
Um, and then that'll allow you to bring in staff. That'll allow you to start paying to have consultants and systems and grow a business and do all the other stuff you want to do. That's the
Mm.
fastest way there. If I could go back, I would, day one, at the end of every day, get out and deliver leaflets until the sun goes down.
Mm. Mm. It's
Or
good
knock on
advice.
doors.
It's good advice.
Anyway, I'll let you go.
You're the best. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much.
Cool. Good chat. Bye.